this session, and the recording is starting now. And just whenever you're ready.
All right, welcome to our Sprint 10 review. This last sprint is a bit of a mix between BCMI and NRCED, so I'm going to start kind of revamping our slides to reflect that. But here's our burn down chart from this last sprint. So I think we picked up a bunch of tickets right in the middle there, and then I think we've got a bit of carryover for next sprint. Just going to touch on the traffic over the last couple of weeks. So BCMI, pretty average level of traffic to the site. It actually says here that it was at the session duration, so the amount of time people are spending on the page or on pages within BCMI was up by 13%. So people are spending more time on it. Whereas with Epic, it was actually down by 15%. And also, I think Epic doesn't have any open public comment periods right now, so I'm thinking that might be why there's less traffic to that site at this time. For LNG, about average. This is what we've seen over the last couple months. And I was kind of looking at the geographic area where these views are coming from, and it's mostly from Victoria and Vancouver. Almost entirely, actually, for these views. And then for NRCED, again, very pretty average traffic levels, a little bit lower over the last couple days. And the average session duration for NRCED is actually down by 50%. So people are spending a lot less time on NRCED over the last 2 weeks for some reason. All right, our Sprint 9 goals. So our goals this last sprint was to have the BCMI information site ready to be delivered and updates to some of the popular pages on the public facing side. So we finished all of that. We found a couple new little bugs, which we're working on right now. We have tickets for that we'll bring into next sprint. But the updates to the public side were completed. We were preparing for moving Epic to OpenShift 4. So I think we got most of that done. There's just a couple tickets remaining. And we also did a lot of discovery and refinement on some of the NRCED data connections. So we had a full session on Thursday. I think a lot of people in this meeting were there. So we did a big session then, and we've been doing lots of investigation and research into that. Our demo today. Demo's going to be pretty short. A lot of the stuff we did this last sprint was sort of in the back end. It's a little bit more difficult to demo. So it is going to be a pretty quick demo this morning. But I will just open BCMI here. All right, so in the test version of NRPTI, the only thing I really wanted to show here is we're still working on getting the data into here correctly. I think we're almost there. We got a couple new bugs this morning, like I said, but we are getting closer. One of the major things I think that we accomplished this last sprint was we made some updates to the way to our scripts for getting data from the old BCMI site into NRPTI. I just wanted to show, I think before we were only pulling over around like 3,000 or 4,000 records from the old site, I think around there. But this last time we ran it, I think we ran it over the weekend. So anything coming from memadmin, that's the old EMPR site. We're now getting 6,000 different records from here. So I think this is the majority of them for sure that we're pulling over. And you can see here, we're getting all sorts of different record types as well. Like these are the dam safety inspections. But just wanted to really surface that we are getting now 6,000 instead of the fewer amount that we were getting before. And the other thing I wanted to show, there's only one other thing really that I was going to demo today, is on our public facing site for BCMI. So we've made a bunch of updates to some of the links within some of these processes and procedures pages, mining BC pages. We had some stale links in there, so we updated those. But what I really wanted to show is, I went in yesterday and I published all these different mines here. You can see they all have different mine types. And what we did is on the map, so you can see all the different mine sites here. We actually added a filter so that our users of the public site can now filter based on mine type or based on if they have tailing impoundments or not. So if I go to mine type and I only want to see coal mines, it'll only show me the 2 coal mines that are published right now. or if I want to see only mines with tailing impoundments, I think it's just this one mine that has a tailing impoundment. So we've added these two filters on the public side, just to make it a little bit easier for people to see sort of what's going on near them and get a better idea of the different mines in the province on a map here. Any questions on that? Okay. So that's actually all I was going to demo, because a lot of the other stuff we did was a lot of backend changes. And I think I've gone through the flow of how to publish something to BCMI quite a few times, so I didn't want to go through it again, unless somebody's interested in doing that. But I did just want to also flag, we did do a bunch of, like I said, sort of backend work this last sprint. So these are some of the things we did. Like I said, we updated the links to the popular pages on BCMI. In preparation for our shift to OpenShift 4, we cleaned up our Epic database. We also added the permit number for any permit documents coming from core. You can now see that core permit number on the public facing front end. Now when you publish a mine within NRPTI, that's going to publish its collections and records. And if that mine is unpublished, those collections and records are unpublished. We made some changes. This is a big piece of work. The BCMI collections are now related to the flavor in our backend instead of the master record. I think that was a big chunk of work that we did this last sprint. We added some descriptive text to the upload page. We're adding a record to a collection. We refreshed the test data in NRPTI for BCMI. This is also a big piece of work, which we are still working on getting this correct. And one other big piece that we did was we made some search improvements to Epic, so to Epic Public. When you're searching for projects now, it is a lot more intuitive. So that we completed that as well this last sprint. Any questions on that piece? Okay. So I'm still showing the BCMI success criteria here. It hasn't changed really over the last little bit because we haven't, the last two things we're waiting on is being able to publish to the to BCMI, but because of the election, we're sort of on pause with these right now. So these two things are on pause. Since we are shifting to working on NRCED, I'm going to update this slide and it's going to be the NRCED success criteria. So next sprint review, I think the presentation will look quite a bit different. And then finally, what's upcoming for the next little while, we would like to move the BCMI portion of NRPTI, so that the admin side, we're going to move that to production and point it to our test public-facing site, because then Amy, you, and whoever else at EMPR can get in there and start preparing the data and getting it all set, so that when we are able to publish to the correct site, we can actually just sort of reroute it and then publish all the mines. So that's one of the things I'm hoping to accomplish in the next little while. We're also going to move Epic, the development environment, to OpenShift 4. So I think we have a meeting tomorrow morning with the platform team to discuss that, and then hoping to just move the development environment to OpenShift 4 this sprint. And also we are going to start on some of the NRCED data connections that we discussed on Thursday, and getting some new compliance and enforcement data into the system, as well as continuing to investigate the different methods and ways we're going to be making data connections in the future for compliance and enforcement. Any questions? I know today was a really short review.
I had a question. I wasn't, this is Will, I wasn't able to be part of the workshop at the last part of the day. Mm-hmm. Is there, can I just go to the Mural Board and kind of catch up with where you guys ended up?
Yep, for sure.
The best place to do that? Okay.
Yeah, do you have the link to it?
I believe I do, yes. Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, we did some solutioning in the afternoon, so there's two kind of long, skinny boards on the Mural Board. Actually, can just pull it up quickly. But yeah, you could take a look and see kind of what some of the solutions that we discussed were. We still have to do some t-shirt estimating on a lot of these, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm just gonna so this stuff over here, this breakout room 1 and 2.
Excellent. Yep. Okay. I recall. I was there at the beginning of it, but I have to go.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, feel free to take a look at the rest of it, what we got to. It's a pretty intense Mural board. It takes forever to load.
And well, like, I don't think that all these solutions are necessarily set in stone. We will adapt and change course and our strategy as we learn new things and
Perfect. Yeah.
try to do some of this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, and I think as we do some of these solutions, I think both you, Will, and Kristen might be tagged on some tickets just to give you an FYI that we're going to be starting to investigate some stuff.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it for the review today. Pretty short one. Yeah, and then I think next sprint, what we'll be focused on is mostly NRCED work and OpenShift, and then a little bit of those BCMI bugs that I kind of discussed at the beginning here. And then we'll start looking at sort of the NRCED success criteria instead of BCMI as well. Yeah, thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. I'm going to stop recording now.